As you know, in Hammers Chat, we love a tier list. Well, I love a tier list. Gonzo just gets dragged along because I love a tier list. But every now and again, we like to do this tier list where we take a little look at the squad and we refer back to David Moyes' Everton days where he had his whiteboard set up in his war room and he had his current squad, he had his transfer targets, so on and so forth. But one of those boards was his current team, and Moyes had broken them down into subcategories. Players you could see long-term at the squad, players he thought would do for the next couple of seasons, but would need to upgrade it or replace, depending on which one, in a couple of seasons' time. Or there were some players who he wouldn't mind just, selling, getting rid of.
What's that?
No use. Yeah.
What's that mime?
I don't know. It depends where you are, I guess. Anyway, so me and Gonzo are going to flip over to a tier list. We're going to take a look at this squad. This is part one. Part two will be out tomorrow morning over on the forum channel. We've got 27 players to get through. There's a lot of players on this squad list for us. So, Gonzo, you ready, Rockable?
I am indeed. What are the categories? Tell me, my friend.
Yeah, I was going to say we better go through the categories first of all. So at the very top, we've got long term. These are the players that we think will be at West Ham for years to come. 3, 4, 5, 6 years' time. This player will still be at West Ham and part of David Moyes' squad. Next down, we've got do for now. It's kind of self-explanatory. It's somebody that might do the job this season and next season. But after that, we don't really think he'll be at West Ham any longer. Now, there could be various reasons they could be in that tier. We'll explain as we go player by player. Then we've got jury is out. There's a couple of obvious ones I think that go into this category. And again, self-explanatory. We're not quite sure yet. We don't know if it's short-term or long-term, or maybe we need to get rid of them. We'll have to wait and see. Now, at the very bottom, where you don't want to be, which is time to part ways. And I think that's putting it politely. Basically, out. Get out of the club. We don't want you here any longer. Anyway, Gonzo, you've got
the two. Replaced with a 2-word instruction.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll keep it PG. We'll keep it friendly.
Well, fortunately, Gio, I actually have 4 colours on my pen. So I'm right up for this, mate. Right up for this.
That is organised. You are organised. Right, so ready to take a look at the players then, first of all, Gonzo. Let's start. Well, I'm not going to start with the top left one. Let's start with the top right one, actually. Okay. We have got Lucas Fabianski. Where do you want to put him?
He's got to be do for now. He'll do for now. Yeah. I think it'd be harsh to say the jury's out on him because jury's out would suggest that, we got more to find out about him. We know everything there is to know about Lucas Fabianski. He'll do for now. I was going to say I'd be annoyed if he was a first-choice goalkeeper next season. I know somebody else that would be even more annoyed than me if he was first-choice goalkeeper next season. And I think, he has to transition and get Areola into that number one, I was going to say jersey, T-shirt, jumper, whatever it is.
I completely agree. That's an easy one to do. It's because of his age, isn't it? He's 37 now. So, is he going to be here in 3 seasons' time? No, not really. Is he going to be here next season? Possibly. So it's literally, he is the perfect player to have for he'll do for now, actually. Now, moving along, we have got Pablo Fornals.
Oh, well, there's only one category for El Fornicador. Where's he gone again? El Fornicador. I love him. He loves me. He's long-term. He's going to be a West Ham legend. I'll tell you now. He doesn't want to go anywhere. He's settled. He's getting more West Hamified the longer he stays. And I tell you what, I thought last season I tipped him to be in contention for player of the season. Thought he'd have a really good one. I didn't know he was going to get pregnant and have a baby. All right, which must be very difficult for him and painful, quite frankly. I think this season that distraction is now gone. The home life is probably more stable now. And I don't know. I think he started the season with real energy as well, Geo. So I think he'll look better. I've said this for a while now. I think he's almost like the next Ginger Pele, like the next cult hero in that sense. So yeah, long term for me.
Yeah, I agree. He has to go in there. You need some players in the long-term category. I think it would be easy to put everybody in the he'll do for now kind of thing, saying, well, we'd like to upgrade him eventually. But it would cost a lot of money to upgrade Fornals. And you need players like him in the team so that the other ones can possibly, maybe not work quite as hard, if you like. You need people in there. And he's exactly what David Moyes needs. He's exactly what David Moyes wants on the football pitch as well. Someone that can play various positions, gives 100% in every position, usually does it to a very high standard as well. Whether he's centre midfield, attack midfield, left wing back, left wing, it doesn't really matter. He puts in the same level of performance in every different position. And I think he's sort of priceless for David Moyes, actually. There would be a bit of I guess, an interesting conversation to have should Moyes not be the manager at West Ham. I think we'd be having a different conversation. But Moyes is the manager of West Ham United. Therefore, Pablo Fornals quite simply and easily goes in to the long-term category. Right then, Gonzo, who do you fancy doing next? Anyone in particular?
What about David Moyes? I'm joking. No, listen, I can't even see I haven't got my big boy glasses on, so you're going to have to tell me.
Okay, then. Let's go with Connor Coventry.
Oh, okay. The jury's out. The jury's out. It just is, Geo. I think that's a perfect phrase for him. Actually, I don't know what sort of player he's going to be. I know he's going to be a professional footballer. I know he's going to be a decent professional footballer. He'll look back and he'll have played 400 professional games. I've no doubt about that. I just don't know at what level that's going to be at yet. I feel he's going to need to add something to his game. And excel at something. Now, that might be to start scoring goals. It might be that his range of passing is better than anyone else. It might be that he runs more distance than anyone else. I feel he needs a key asset to add to his neat and tidy game, which is what he is at the moment. So realistically, I don't know. The jury is still out for me. And I think with Flynn Downs, the last European game that we played against Bucharest, or whoever they may be, I think Flynn Downs has very much put himself as the next one in line in midfield. So jury's out for me, Gio.
Yeah, I completely agree. A pivotal season for him, really. We've got that option on his contract if we wish to trigger it. So he might be here next season. It might get to the point where we say, listen, Connor, you're just not going to make it at West Ham. You need to go be playing lots of minutes. You're not at this level. Go somewhere else. And he will have a really, really good career. Like you said, even if it is a championship or even top-end League One, it's still a fantastic footballing career to have. Yeah. But we don't know if it's going to be with West Ham or not. This is the season, or certainly this is the 6 months that we'll find out. Maybe he'll be with us for the second half of the season as well. I hope he is, actually. I hope he's here for the whole season. I know you wouldn't mind seeing him go out on loan. I'd like to see him get the whole season, top training at West Ham, really understand what David Moyes is all about, learn from Declan Rice, and then give him the best chance of making it at West Ham United. But yes, I agree. The perfect player. Funny enough, we've had 3 perfect players really so far. The guy that's perfect for long term, the guy that's perfect for he'll do for now, and the guy that's perfect for jury's out. Let me halt that tier list discussion for just a minute because this video is sponsored by Spitch, the fantasy football app that you should download to your device right now. It's free to download, it's free to sign up, and there's loads of games to play on there for free, some of which even have cash prizes up for grabs. Now, at the time of recording, we don't know when the Premier League will be back. It might be back this weekend. We're not sure. But what we are sure of, the EFL is back. And that includes a full set of championship fixtures mid-week, which gives you the perfect chance to get a little bit of practice in. Once you've downloaded and signed up to Spitch, on the bottom tab you click Lobby, which is on the left-hand side. Then at the very top you've got your leagues. Click on the drop-down menu, it'll bring up any league that you can click on. Scroll down to Championship, find that, and it'll bring up the Championship page. You can now enter for free. It costs you nothing. Now, there's no cash prizes up for grabs on this one, but it gives you the perfect opportunity. Get a little bit of practicing, get to grips, because Spitch has a unique scoring system. You get loads of points for things like passes, but you also get points deducted on there as well. Also, budget. Don't worry about it. Spitch let you go over budget or under budget. Simply thing is, if you go under, you start off with a few points, but if you go over budget, you start on minus points before a ball has even been kicked. And also, don't worry about transfers with Spitch. You pick a different team for every single week. So you pick your team for 1 week, it resets, and you go again next week. All a little bit confusing. Well, that is why this week you need to get involved with the Championship game and get ready, because when the Premier League is back, we want to see you in our Hammers Chat League taking on myself and Gonzo. Please do download the app by using the link in the description of this video so they know you come from Hammers Chat. Anyway, that's enough for me. Enough about Spitch. Let's get back to the tier list discussion. So, without further ado, let's switch back to the tier list. Let's see if I can find a controversial one just to spice things up a bit. I know who I want. It's just finding him with these very small people. That's the problem.
Find a big player. Pick Zouma. Surely he's bigger than everyone else.
I can't find the one I want. I can't find him. Where is he?
Are you sure he's in there? It's 27.
I found him now.
Such a big squad now.
Do I know why I can't tell? Couldn't find him. Look at him.
He's hiding his face.
Yes, Said Benrahma.
He's embarrassed. Said Benrahma. I think this is a tough one.
Well, let's do process of elimination, right? He's not going in time to part ways, I don't think.
No.
Right? Is he long term? You would hope so, but I'm not convinced he is.
He's not jury's out for me. I'll tell you, I'm going to put him in. He'll do for now. For me.
I would debate putting him in jury's out, but I'll go with you. I'll put him in the do for now category. But I would make an argument that he could go in jury's out.
Go on then.
But the problem is, I think I'm pretty certain there's like a third tier list I've done of this ilk, and I've put him in jury's out in the other two as well, which is we don't know yet. And that's a problem. The fact is, with Fornals, straight in there, bang. Even Fabianski, he'll do for now, but it's because of his age and his ability. If Fabianski was 27, he'd be straight in the long term. Whack. With Benrahma, it's like, is he? I don't know. Because ability-wise, Benrahma, he should be in the long term. Happy days, we've got a player. I just don't have confidence in him and Moyes ever really not getting along. They get along, but I don't have confidence in him thriving for a long period of time and consistently under David Moyes as manager. I just think that Moyes possibly might not be the best manager for him, or he might not be the best player for Moyes, whatever. Because we saw at Stamford Bridge last week, which is, I want to get Paqueta in the team. All right, Benrahma, you're out, mate. He's our best player this season so far. Attack, he'd rather have Fornals and Bowen in because of what they do off the ball than Benrahma for what he does on the ball. And that's Moyes' priorities. Now, I'm not going to argue with them because that's what's got us to 6th place and 7th place in the Premier League. Brilliant. The manager can do what he wants at this stage as far as I'm concerned. But that's why sort of jury's out for me. Can Benrahma become a David Moyes player? I don't know. If he does, long term. If he doesn't, it's that he'll do for now, probably eventually becoming time to part ways because he retains a high market value. But I'll put him in the he'll do for now. But for me, it's probably a little bit more jury's out because every time I feel like the Benrahma and West Ham story is coming to an end, it turns out it's just the end of a chapter and there's another chapter to go in it. There's a twist in the story, and I quite like it because it means he's good, he's playing well, he's back in team. But I also dislike it because I don't feel it's a long-term thing. Even right now, Gonzo, I'm adamant he's been our best player so far this season. If the Everton game goes ahead, am I confident he'll start? Not really. Should he start? Yeah. But really, I'm not too sure.
I always like to try and play the ball, not the man, with Benrahma. I always think there's people that, before he even kicks a ball, there's people that absolutely love him, and there's people that want him gone. And I always just think, okay, well, I just always trying to praise him on how he plays, really, because I don't feel strongly either way about it. But I do. So, and if you're judging him how he plays, he has been our best attacker this season. There's no doubt about that at all. I thought he got the run around in the European game because that didn't play to his strengths. He lacks electricity. To be fair, we probably all do if the prices keep going up. But because of that, it's easy to concentrate what he can't do. What he can do is he can dribble really well and get into the box very, very well and cause problems. You don't know which way he's going to... When you don't know which way he's going to turn, I think that's good. Now, the thing is, I'd like to appraise it in as much as if Moyes isn't here or if Moyes is here. So he'll do for now if Moyes is here. I think the question is if another manager comes in, it could go either way. Another manager could come in and he could get the very best.
Like the jury's out to me.
Well, it could get the very best out of him. All right. I mean, you may get somebody think, actually, I want to not quite build the team around him, but this guy is a really, really good attacking asset. forget the fact he's not lightning quick. I'll get other players in that are lightning quick. The only thing I would say about that is Benrahma was probably the easiest player to buy off West Ham this summer. If a club had come in with 20 million, I think Moyes would have sold him. I really do. But nobody did, which means do any of the other managers really fancy him for that? I'm not sure. I don't think we'd have sold him at 10 million. But so I'm not sure that someone else comes in and plays him. It's a tough one. So I think for that reason, I think he'll do for now. But I think it could go either way. He either doesn't get used at all, or he could be up for hammer of the year. It's up to. Well, I say it's not just up to Saeed. It's up to Moyes to pick him as well.
Right then, back to that tier list, Gonzo. Let's have a little look and see what we've
Who's flexing his muscles? Who's doing that?
Hang on, I can't see you. Let me see you. What are you doing?
Flexing his muscles.
He's not doing that. There's two of them. They're doing this.
Oh, right. Oh.
And we've got Declan Rice and Flynn Downs both doing this.
Are they now?
So which one would you like that's doing this?
Flynn Downs.
Okay, Flynn. Where are you putting him?
I don't know.
Well, it's not part ways. He's not had a chance. It's not the bottom one. Do you know something? I would argue it's long term.
I think you're right. Go on.
I think we've brought him in. He's 23 years of age, homegrown. There's never ever going to be a question about him giving 100% for the club. And I think if you do that, I think that goes a long way. And it's not necessarily because he's a West Ham fan. There is an element of that. It's just the type of player he is as well. James Collins, you often speak about it. Fornals, they will always give 100% for West Ham, but they're not West Ham fans. They're almost adopted West Ham fans.
Yeah.
Flynn Downs will always have that work rate, that graft, and you can put the tackles in, and I think he could very quickly become a bit of a terrorist favourites with the West Ham fans. Sure. Not the best player, not the most skilled player, but just somebody you can relate to a little bit when you're watching the game. So for that reason, I think that part of it is fine. It's just a case of, are you good enough? And from what I've seen at Swansea, I didn't see him at Ipswich. From what I've seen of him at Swansea, I think he is. And one thing that's given me further encouragement is actually Lewis O'Brien going to Nottingham Forest at the same time. Yeah. And he is playing for Nottingham Forest, and he's playing well for Nottingham Forest. And I had them to sort of on a par last season in the Championship in terms of centre midfielders, along with James Garner for the second half of the season. Garner was poor in the first half. Second half, though, I think he was probably better than O'Brien and Downs. He went to Everton for 14 million or something like that. So the three best players in the Championship in that area of the pitch, one's doing it, one's just gone to Everton. We've got the other one. And I think they'll all cut it in the Premier League. I think he's a Premier League standard player. Given the club he's at, I think it's possibly the perfect club. And I actually think he could be the perfect manager for, while I say Moyes, I don't think suits Benrahma. Actually, I think Moyes might just suit Flynn Downs, because if he was playing under perhaps a more adventurous manager, like let's say Graham Potter at Brighton, could Downs do just that at Brighton under Potter? I'm not sure. I think there'd be a little bit of an element of, come on, we need a little bit more from you in the attacking sense of the pitch. You need to be a bit more creative.
Sure.
Whereas I don't think Moyes is ever going to demand that from somebody that plays centre midfield at West Ham. I don't think Moyes is going to say, where's your goals and assists, Flynn? I think Moyes will look at that 92% pass success rate and ignore the fact the majority are safe passes. I think Moyes would like that. Moyes go, here's a guy that I know isn't going to give the ball away in a stupid position and we're going to get counter-attacked or anything like that. I think we're the right club, the right manager, and I think Downs will be all right, actually. And my relief is, I can't explain how relieved I am that he got that game last Thursday, Downs, actually, because it's that whole, is this Alex Carl it's disappeared for me now. I'm like, no, it's not. Here we go. Now got a player who might actually just force his way into the team a little bit quicker than we anticipated, actually. So for me, Flynn Downs, long-term.
Yeah, I'll go with that. And I do think it's important that we have players in the long-term category, not just because we're doing a video and we've made our own category, but it's that David Moyes sees it that way. Because we've both done videos in the last 2 or 3 days about another exodus of players at the end of this season. We've seen a big exodus at the end of last season. We can't keep doing that, rebuilding the team. So you've got to have some players who have a long-term future at the club. And I do think, someone with a bit of identity, which he's clearly got, as you alluded to. I also think the other thing is players like that are sensible because there are rules. There are rules to the composition of your squad, and you have to have a certain number of homegrown players. And who better than a homegrown player who supports your club as well? So and someone that's good. Let's be fair, he's a good player. So yeah, looking forward to seeing more of him, and he would definitely go in there. And he ain't the last one that's going to go in that category.
No, let's ramp it up then. Let's get a couple of easy ones down. Darren Randolph, or we'll just chuck him in time to part ways.
I think so. Sorry, Darren.
Sorry, Darren. In you go. We've got Arthur Masuaku. We'll put him in time to part ways.
Oh, yeah, of course. Do you know what? Sorry, Arthur. I'd actually a double sorry. I'd forgotten you existed, to be honest with you. Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
I've included him and Vlasic in this because, well, they're still West Ham players, and I mean, you go on the West Ham website, they've been removed from the team, which I think is quite harsh. I mean, that's a bit ruthless by someone, isn't it? Because if you go on the 21s team, the players out on loan are still there. It just says on loan at wherever.
Yeah.
Vlasic and Masuaku's just been deleted,
expunged. Yeah.
That's why they've all got their transparent background player profile pictures doing their. And Masuaku and Vlasic as action shots because I had to get them from Google. I couldn't get them from
That's a nick 'em. Yeah.
Don't exist. Right, back to the tier list. What about Ben Johnson then?
Long term.
Yeah.
I mean, you could almost cut and paste what I said about Flynn Downs, really. You know, West Ham fan, through the academy, you're going to need players that can play in several positions. And funnily enough, the players that we've got in long term there, I wouldn't say any of them are guaranteed starters. And that's fine. That's fine. Absolutely. Because actually, for you to stick around, and even if you're not guaranteed to play every game, you've got to have the right attitude. And all three of those do. There's no doubt about that at all. I mean, you know, by the time he's finished, I'll say by the time he's finished, by the time Johnson's in his mid-20s, 25 or something, don't be surprised if he is competent at left back, competent at right back, and competent at centre back. That's a hell of a useful player to have in your squad. You know, to look at your bench maybe and think, okay, well, he can cover everything. So actually, someone like that allows you to carry another attacker on the bench, you know, things like that. And when called upon, he'll play. And the thing is, those players, it's not like they don't play. Those players end up, particularly if you're in Europe and you're playing 50, 60 games, those players end up playing 35 games over the course of the season. They play a lot of football. So long term, mate, he's been at the club since he was 7 or 8. Long may it continue.
Yeah, I completely agree. The other thing I will add for Ben Johnson is when you play European football, which is also the aim long term, hopefully at West Ham, you need 8 homegrown players. But out of the 8, you need 4 that are sort of your own club academy trained, and we don't have those at the minute. So Ben Johnson's worth his weight in gold in that regards, because if you only got 2, it means you're only allowed a 23-man squad. You know, you're literally missing out on players that you can use in European football. So you need as many as possible. So I think someone like Ben's important, and he's sort of carried on the Martin Noble thing of sweeping in change room and stuff. And no, I don't want him at West Ham because he sweeps the changing rooms. But it's important that you keep that culture, that environment that's worked in the last few. I think it's important that you keep that. And us as fans, and also football fans, when they got told the stories of Martin Noble and stuff, you cling to them a bit because it's a reminder that not money hasn't destroyed everything in football yet. There's still elements of the game that actually is quite nice, is quite romantic. There's not as many as there used to be. Like I said, it's getting less and less, but that's why you cling on to a bit more. So when you see Ben Johnson doing that, you think, good, I'm glad he has. And they haven't gone, right, see you, Mark. I guess we're going to have to hire a cleaner on match days now because...
I'd buy him a Dyson, like on a little hand-operated one that you plug into you stick it on the thing at the wall, you know. I'd buy him one of them.
Proper broom.
You know, got to get in the modern age. Get him like a Hoover with an app.
Anyway, right, back to the tier list. From Hoovers to who's next? We've got
to get a defender, got to get a sweeper. You know, after we just said that, that's your segue.
Right. Well, I'm trying to flip and look for that. That's a problem, isn't it?
Well, there's a lot of them flexing their muscles from what I can see.
Yeah, it's Kurt Zouma, but he's doing the t-shirt thing. What were you thinking for Kurt Zouma?
Well, a new t-shirt. I think he clearly don't like that one. He's trying to take it off.
Are you talking about this guy here? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's okay then, right? What category are you thinking? I mean, he's not time to part ways.
Oh, he's nowhere near. He's nowhere near. Look, to be fair, he should be long term. It's just the injuries are the only thing. I'll stick him on long term, Gio. It's not even a do for now. He's look. We're going to do our player ratings all throughout the season. There'll be several times this season. Kurt Zouma will be man of the match. Man of the match will literally be the best player on the football pitch. The injury, I just don't know. That's the only thing that would trouble me is his injuries. But does that mean do for now? Not really. Look, until he is completely broken, then he'll go into time to. He'll go. There'll be no in between. He'll go from long term to right off you go. Time to part ways for me. I think he's a really good player. I think he's really, really important to what we want to do. I think he's really important to what Moyes wants to do. And I think, we're going to be discussing some other defenders as well. I think it's really important that they sort of pivot around Kurt Zouma, really.
Yeah, I completely agree. No-brainer. One of those no-brainer selections, and he goes at long term. What about Aaron Cresswell? Because you yesterday...
Go on.
You did your players out of contract and you read out your list, blah, 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 and then you forgot to make. I was walking when I was listening to it, so it was in my pocket walking. You're wrapping up at the end. You started waffling as we both do for 90 seconds at the end to just drag it out a little bit. Yeah. So you started summarising and waffling. I thought he's not done Aaron Cresswell here. I thought unless I've missed it, and I thought, well, I don't think I have. I'm pretty certain I've not missed it. Bear in mind, I listened to your one football promotion, which, by the way, your tailor it to your suits and needs was a fantastic line that you said there when you said that. I was clapped out. Just well done. Tailor it to your suits. Well done.
There you go.
But anyway, you missed Aaron Cresswell, so this gives you an opportunity to sort of give us your thoughts on him, Aaron Cresswell.
Embarrassingly, Gio, it was you that wrote me the list. And I was reading from a list that you wrote out, and even though I had the list in front of me, I still missed out Aaron Cresswell. So it's entirely my fault. It's time to part ways.
What? No. Right, hang on. Let me just pop him back down here.
You want to see my face? You want to look me in the eye, don't you? There you go.
Yeah, right. Come on, explain yourself.
I think that the time's up. I think the time's up for Cresswell. I think look, the video was about the contract being up at the end of the season. I think that's enough. I don't mean part ways right now. I don't mean terminate the contract. I mean end of the season. We're at a crossroads. Do you offer Aaron Cresswell a whole new contract? I think not. So for me, I think at the very top level, he gets exposed. Not in that way.
He's not. Listen, he's not perfect. He's not. He's consistently good. I think. There's some games that he costs us, and I'm not going to talk about the European semi-finals. There's other games where he is at fault for a goal or two, and they can sometimes be important goals. But something I can say that about Kurt Zouma was at fault for the goals against Brighton. Do you know what I mean? Zouma cost us that game, but he's been a fantastic servant to us for years. He's 32. I mean, it's not young, but it's not washed up, finished yet. There's still plenty of time in Aaron Cresswell yet. Is he fast anymore? No, but I would say he's not. He never has been quick. He's never been slow. He's just been average paced. So his game hasn't relied on speed. Now, yes, at times, that example against Tottenham in particular is the one that it scared me watching Kulusevski bomb it past him. Yeah. It was a 15-yard sprint. Cresswell had a 2-yard head start and finished 3 yards behind him at the end of it. It was worrying. But that's when we're going to be playing 3 at the back, which we will do a lot. As a left centre-back, that's fine. He's perfect for that role. And to get rid of him, I know what your way to counter-argue here, which is, well, we can go spend big money on a left-back next summer and Emerson becomes the backup. But to get rid of him, I think you have to have faith that the other left-back at the club is good enough, and I don't have that. I think, come the end of the season, I wouldn't be surprised if Cresswell started more games than Emerson, obviously injury depending and stuff. For me, it's a he'll do for now, and I think it's a no-brainer for me that it's a he'll do for now. Not a 4-year contract, then it's stupid. Even just a 1-year contract and receive what it is in a year's time. But you can't speak about homegrown and longevity and sort of consistency at the club and then get rid of our longest serving player, not including the academy ones, the ones that we paid to bring into the club. He's our longest serving. I'm disappointed in you, Gonzo. We're gonna have to decide. One of us is gonna have to. Can we go halfway?
Look. Do you know what? You've made a good argument, particularly on left centre back. All right, if that's what he was doing, then fine. But don't be too cocksure that I'm saying that Emerson's going to be sitting around as our left centre back, our reserve left back. You don't know where I'm sticking him, and I tell you what, it might be where the sun don't shine.
So do I win? Can I put him in do for now?
You can.
Yes, Aaron. Here we go.
Give him another 1 year deal as a centre back, reserve centre back.
Reserve centre back, right? Okay, right. We've got Manuel Lanzini.
Yeah, I mean, time to go, Manuel, in the loveliest of ways. You know, in the nicest way. You know what? You get these players that serve you well, and you know what a bargain he was at 8 odd million or something. I've been a really, really good player for West Ham, and he doesn't complain when he doesn't play or anything. He's been a really, really good servant for the club, but I think you let him go and you let him go back home, and you bring in a specialist. I've having contradicted myself and speaking about the value of players that can play in several different positions. Well, Lanzini's one, and that's fine. But actually, I do think in that I would rather just send. I don't want to get rid of him. Almost sounds harsh. He's been such a good servant, but let him leave because his contract will expire, and bring in another attacking midfielder, a younger one who can improve and grow. Basically, bring in a real understudy to Paqueta, who can learn to thrive and do the job.
Yeah, for me, it's jury's out because I want to see what he's got to offer this season before we make any final decision. But I'm going to tier list to put him in the time to depart ways, because if I had to make a decision today to give him a new deal or not, Cresswell, I'd give him a new deal. Other players, I'd say, yeah, new deal. Other ones, I'd say no deal. Lanzini would be a no deal for me because it's almost getting a bit painful to watch now when he's struggling. You know, we played Thursday. They weren't that FC, SB they were all right. They were enthusiastic. They weren't great. And Lanzini just looked out of place. It was not nice to watch.
No.
He comes alive in them games and looks like the best player on the pitch, and he was looking like the worst player. It's just unfortunate with these injuries and stuff. But like you said, been a good player for us, and wonderful to watch. But I do think his time at West Ham is unfortunately coming to an end, and rapidly so as well. Right, back to the tier list, and then we've got. Let's do a couple of easy ones, and then we can wrap up this video and then re-record the next one for the Forum Channel tomorrow morning. So Declan Rice, well, actually,
it's not easy.
Yeah, I mean, you want to put him long term, but we've got a contract situation. You put him in there, he walks for free, in theory, or he signs a new deal. It's one of the two. You put him in do for now. Essentially, what you're saying is, I'm going to cash in on him.
No, I'll stick him in the top one. I don't mind not selling Declan. I don't mind. Honestly, I really don't. I don't mind having him around for, including this year, the next 3 years. I think the uplift that you get from having a top quality player is huge. We've also shown that actually we're not a poor club. And actually, I would like to think that at some point in the next 2 or 3 years, we could probably buy Declan's replacement. A couple of years younger for 30, 40 million. And by the time Declan leaves, he's ready to go. I also do think that we could. I don't think his value's moved. If anything, I think his value has lessened somewhat. Not because of his play. I just think because of the way football is, and the way people are sort of spending money.
The thing is, though, I guess what you're trying to say is he's not worth 150 million or whatever, but he never was, though, was he? That was just our price tag.
It was our price tag, but here's my point. We keep basically sell him now for 100 million. I know you can't, but that's just for the argument's sake. Sell him now for 100 million, or keep him for another 2.5 years and sell him to still be a bidding war at 60 million. I'd do that one. I really would. I'd do that one. Just in the meantime, it might get a little bit squeaky bum. We might have another spend up. We might turn good, and he might well convince him to sign. I'd be prepared to do that. I've never been a big one for selling him. I really don't. I also do think, even if you're not going to get 100 million, the uplift and the benefit of having a world class midfielder for additional 3 years is huge. You don't know that you get somebody and they're going to work out. You just don't know that. So I would still stick him in long term, Gio.
Yeah, I'll put him in there. I think I would have been he'll do for now, because I would cash in on him with a year to go in his contract. I couldn't let him go for free, because like you said, even with 12 months to go in his contract, you'd still get 70, 80 million. Arguably, there'd be more clubs interested then, because he's at a discounted price and he's had another two years. At this point, he might have captained England for a game, even if it's just a friendly or a Nations League game. He might have wore the armband for England. He's established himself, hopefully, further as England's main centre midfielder alongside Jude Bellingham. You don't know what West Ham's achieved in that time. You could go on and do really well, and actually he says, you know what, I'm going to stick around. Actually, I'm going to sign a new deal here at West Ham. So you don't know. So you're basically, I guess, losing 30, 40 million to gamble that we can kick on in the next 2 years, and if we don't, then we can, like you said, sell him, and he goes for a discounted price, but still a big fee for us. I couldn't let him walk for free, though, because I think the money is too important. And I know what you're saying, we've just spent big money. But that's part of the reason I wouldn't want to walk on a free, because I think I don't have confidence that we've got 180 million next summer and the following summer and the following summer. At some point, the money's going to stop or it's going to dry up. And, you know, the skeptical side of me says next summer, we're probably going to be back to 50, 60 million net spend, so on and so forth. So, but if Paqueta and Skamaka come good, and Aguerd, that shows that Newman or whoever at that club can successfully sign and attract top players for around about 35, 40 million. And if you can sell Declan, in theory, you can go get two of those. It's big ifs, of course it is, but I'll put him in the top one for now, the long term. But I would put him in he'll do for now, because like I said, that's a 2-year thing, and I think in 2 years I'd be looking to cash in on it if he hasn't signed a new contract. Right, last player for this video, and then you'll have to tune in tomorrow morning for the other half. Gonzo, is there anyone in particular you'd like to wrap it up with?
Vlasic.
There you go, Nikola Vlasic. I mean, it would be easy to put him in part ways.
I'm not gonna.
But he's had a fantastic start to life at Torino.
Yeah, absolutely. Can we put him in juries out, please? And let me tell you now. All right, he's had such a fantastic start at Torino, and I think they have an option to buy rather than an obligation. And the option actually means that they can either buy him or not buy him, but they have first refusal. We can't sell him to anyone else. The option also means that we don't have to sell him to them, right? That's what, as I understand it.
I disagree. I think an option is we've already agreed a price, and if I think it's 12 million. It's 12 or 15. There's argument. Well, I say argument. Nobody's arguing. There's discrepancies in the reporting of the price. It's like our real. Like when we bought him, was it 8 million, 11 million? I don't think we actually know. 12 or 15 is the fee being tipped round. And
if you sell them, but you can surely, there's no legally binding agreement to release their registration, right? I don't know.
The way I see, the way I understand is if it's 12 million and next summer Torino go, there's your 12 million West Ham, we have to accept it. Now Vlasic doesn't have to accept to go, of course. It's then up to the player. But the way I understand it is if you've got an agreed fee, an option to buy of 12 million, that club offers 12 million, you must accept it.
Be interested to know. I'll tell you what, I'm going to try and find out. But I think there was a lot of, we thought we were going to lose him and stuff. If he carries on playing like he does, I think you may well find that 12 to 15 million might be quite cheap in terms of that. So that's why. I'm not convinced of how long David Moyes is going to be at West Ham. I'm not convinced of that at all.
Why is that?
I don't know. I don't know.
Just a hunch.
Yeah, it is. It is just a hunch. I'm not convinced David Moyes sees out the season at West Ham, and I hope he does, because believe you me, if he doesn't, we're down the bottom and we're all in trouble. Put it that way. So I hope that's not the case. You know, I really do. Hope within the next 10 games we're up there and mid-table. I'm sure everything will be fine. However, if things don't go, then someone else comes in. I wouldn't be surprised if someone else thinks they can get a tune out of Vlasic. So I think just somebody may well turn around and say, hold on a second, this agreement to sell him on, how solid is it? If he gets to the end of the season Serie A and he's scored 3 goals already. If he scored 10 goals in Serie A, which I don't think is unreasonable, he scored 3 already. 10 goals in Serie A from midfield, from attacking midfield. Yeah, I think you probably sell him for a lot more than 12 to 15 million. Mate, maybe that story has not reached the end, basically.
We'll leave him in jury's out. I think he'll be gone, and I think decision won't be in our hands. I think he'll be a Torino player next season. I'll be surprised if he returns to West Ham. But I'm going to put him in jury's out because for that reasons, the performance levels he is displaying over there in a different position to what we saw him at West Ham often. And like you said, we need to replace Lanzini. Well, there's your answer, possibly, and it won't cost you a penny either. So, right. Anyway, that is part 1. John, just to quickly recap, let me flick on the other screen because I can't see them here. In long term, we've got Fornals, Downs, Johnson, Zouma, and Declan Rice. In the do for now, we've got Benrahma, Cresswell, and Fabianski. Jury is out for Nikola Vlasic and Connor Coventry. And we've got time to part ways with Dan Randolph, Arthur Masuaku, and Manu Lanzini. So there you go. That's part 1. Part 2 will be on the forum channel tomorrow morning. It's possibly going to be on your screen in 20 seconds. Depends how long I take to edit it, essentially. But hopefully it'll be on the screen in approximately 15 seconds now. But if you've enjoyed this video, please do drop a like on and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Myself and Gonzo, well, we'll catch you tomorrow morning with part 2 of this tier list.